好きだ.
Welcome to Watch Mojo Anime, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 anime that could never be made today. Number 10, Wicked City. One of those retro anime flicks that somehow avoids becoming a hentai by the narrowest of margins. Not that anyone really got deep enough into the plot to see any of the other gritty content on account of the opening scene involving passionate bedroom action between our cocky detective and his new lady friend, only for her to suddenly transform into a spider hybrid, complete with a snapping maw and several rows of sharp teeth in some questionable areas. Number 9, Elfen Lied. Lucy's bloody struggle in a world that wronged her is one of those dark and despairing series that really should have a full adaptation by now. It's got a cult following, its mature themes certainly strike a chord, plus it has one of the most tragic anti-heroes in modern memory. So what's stopping it? Probably the impossibly high kill count, the countless decapitations, as well as an abuse subplot. Its own darkness is its own enemy when it comes to getting a second shot at the limelight. Number 8, Mezzo Forte. Turns out that in order to get this funded, Studio Arms had to ask publisher Green Bunny for help, who happened to make hentai for a living. Thus, we have these shoehorned scenes that are as gratuitous and detailed as you can possibly get. You've seen it. Don't pretend you haven't. As you can imagine, getting a helping hand from X-rated distributors isn't exactly a common practice these days. Number 7, Manu Hikensho. Essentially, it follows a female ninja roaming around as she absorbs the breast size of her enemies and adds it to her own. All the while, all manner of lewd antics follow her and her pervy sidekick day in and day out. With none of the charm to hold up its gigantic bust, it wouldn't be long before a second shot at this exploitive ninja parade of heaving cleavage was cut down. Number 6, Pompoko. One of Studio Ghibli's far more experimental flicks, there's a lot to love about this fantastical take on the Japanese folktales surrounding Tanuki. Sure, the plot goes to all kinds of crazy places and makes no attempt to veil its pro-environmental messages, but come on, talking Tanuki have and always will be adorable. You know what's not adorable? Seeing them swell their happy sacks to monstrous proportions so that they can be used as parachutes or weapons to take down the police. Number 5, Shimoneta, a boring world where the concept of dirty jokes doesn't exist. Vulgar jokes combined with a not-so-subtle commentary on how repressing natural urges to obscene degrees is a terrible idea. This series was a gem. Personally, we'd love to see a continuation of Blue Snow's anarchistic antics as she tries to bring erotic and R-rated content back into society, and yet we know some groups would be up in arms for a show essentially prompting PIV propaganda. Number 4, Golden Boy. A tale of tragedies and triumph, an underdog's desperate search for knowledge. Gintaro's saga was truly one we'll likely never see the likes of again. No, my queen, forgive me! Mainly due to the fact that every place he went to ended up somehow enticing a busty beauty to such an extent they were willing to surrender it all just to get a piece of his golden boy. While it's not too far removed from some of the ecchi content seen in today's sleazier anime scene, we can see networks having some issue with how, well, vocal the ladies can get when it comes to their wanton desire. Number 3, Koikaze.
好きだ.
Brother-sister relationships are nothing new to anime. It's everywhere in the harem genre, it's always being made fun of in comedies, or just being shamed for the icky and destructive subject it is. And then there's this little anomaly, a series that portrays the folly and heartbreak that comes from two lonely souls who fall in love in earnest and are unable to suppress their desires. You feel such sympathy for these two. even though you know this will never end well. Number 2. Genocyber. Ultra gory, ultra violent, ultra disturbing, this anime lives and breathes shock value, especially if it involves humans being torn apart in the most ludicrously brutal ways imaginable.
You're kidding.
Nope. You boys want to take a leaf out of that kid's book.
Psychic girl meets homeless boy, illegal experiments, massacres ensue. While it's incoherent at the best of times, the sheer amount of depravity and body horror displayed is so obscene that there is no way something like this would be replicated. Number 1. Kodomo no Chikan. Yeah, not sure we have to go into detail about how having a young student in love with her teacher and go to extensive lengths to show it is, well, hate to say it, problematic. While they don't cross all of the morally questionable lines, there are still scenes of Rin throwing herself at her teacher on numerous occasions, with her sole goal being to become his wife. Can you imagine the shitstorm this would cause if they tried to bring it back?
だから3年生相手にセクハラなんて考えすぎですよ。